Glad you could join us. Now, there are calls from the public for the deployment of security personnel to enforce COVID-19 protocols following widespread disregard for the use of face masks and other protocols. The country's COVID-19 cases are rising sharply, with many of the infected persons suffering severe symptoms, and the lack of adhering to the protocols is said to be a major factor in that spread. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, speaks to ordinary people about this situation and finds out what can be done to address the problem.
On the streets of Accra and other cities across the country, many are going about their normal activities without face covering. The few who have masks are either keeping them in their bags, pockets, or not wearing them properly. Some, like this woman, attribute this to the bad example showed by the country's political leaders on national TV. In March 2020, when President Akufo-Addo imposed a lockdown in Greater Accra, Kumasi and contiguous districts, compliance to COVID-19 protocols was high. Police officers would routinely stop and question those not in masks, whilst authorities deployed task forces to the central business districts to ensure compliance of the no mask, no entry policy. At this time, the country's case count was just 141 with 5 deaths. Today, there are more than 55,000 confirmed cases, 1,200 of them active, 44 severe and 338 deaths. But this is when Ghanaians are being reckless about the disease. Several weeks of electioneering campaigns, Christmas and New Year celebrations have contributed to the rising cases.
I would say 10 days ago that we started having slightly higher cases than discharges. So if you have more cases than discharges, then it tells you that you are going to have an increase in active cases. So I would say that over the past 1 week, there's an increase in number of cases. Government
is already procuring vaccines, but this will not be enough to vaccinate everyone and won't even arrive until at least March 2021. The Ghana Medical Association has confirmed the country's treatment facilities are stretched following an increase in symptomatic cases.
As a country, gradually, we are going to slip as far as COVID-19 is concerned. The situation is that, one, enforcement is not happening at any levels whatsoever. Over the Christmas period till now, I have had calls from over 20 different families who have had COVID one way or the other. And some of them, you talk to them, the system has not even reached out to them to see whether, one, they are doing well or what is happening to them in the first place. Okay. And these are people, per the structure we are running, are supposed to be known to the system. They are doctors or healthcare professionals who will be mapped to these patients to oversee their care, even where they are receiving care at home, i.e. outside the care centers or the hospitals.
Some Ghanaians we spoke to want security personnel deployed to enforce the protocols.
Well, security agents are around, so they should be around to make sure that others are wearing it. I was not wearing the mask and I went to pass in front of the Ghana police headquarters. Okay. But when I saw the policeman standing there, I wore it. Okay, so as he said, the security agencies, if for instance, let's say as we were coming inside, there's a policeman over there ensuring that people wear their nose mask. My brother was not wearing it, unfortunately. So like you'll be told to wear it even before he enters this place. So as he said, I think that's what is best to be done.
When it started, they actually said that the police should be the ones enforcing the wearing of nose masks. Now they don't also care. They don't wear it first of all, and they don't also even care.
With new variants spreading like wildfire, everyone would have to take personal responsibility before the security agencies are deployed to compel us. Fred Smith for Joy News.
Now, the drastic rise in cases has proven to be a threat to children who are preparing to return to school. Some parents are worried as a result. Judith Awachitando has been interacting with the parent and has more in this report.
Meet 40-year-old Theresa Brown. She is a mother of 4 and is teaching her children how to wear face masks as schools prepare to reopen.
Anytime you have to wear the nose mask, you sanitize your hand first. What did I say?
Sanitize your hands first.
Good. And then make sure that anytime you are holding a nose mask, you are holding this side of it. Okay. You don't hold here because you're coming to use this place to cover your nose. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You check both sides. There's the part where it's very hard. It's a bit harder than the other side. That side will come up. So you look at me. Will come up. And then you wear it this way.
As a mother, it has been difficult explaining to her children not to hug and shake hands with other children. With COVID-19 cases rising, she is worried about how her children will cope.
The very little one, the one, he's about 7 years old. And sometimes you will see he will pull his nose mask down. I put it back and I'm tired. I'm just tired. I can't breathe. And you can't do anything about it. You can't say you should remove it because he needs it to protect him. And it's been difficult. It's been difficult trying to get them to come to the realization that this is the life now. This is the norm now. And things has to be done the right way.
Mrs. Brown is encouraging other parents to take nutrition seriously to boost the immune system of their children.
We are looking at even for them building their immune system, because when they go to school, they are not able to eat well. They will leave home very early in the morning, maybe take a little breakfast. And then when they are in school, they have to take their snack and they have to also take their lunch at school. For me, I prepare the food from the house. And so if the children are not able to eat it at school when it is cold, that will mean that they will go and come back and have not eaten lunch cold because they can't eat. Immune system cannot be built.
She admits the uncertainty of adhering to safety protocols and argues that it is more dependent on parents than teachers to ensure the safety of their children.
Surety, no. I would also not say I'm afraid because I am not the type who entertain fear. And so we would have to hope that things will go well and hope that parents will keep on, will not stop educating the children. The teachers can do just a little at school. So the burden is now on the parents to consistently do that.
Learning to live with the virus appears challenging, but until many are vaccinated against the virus, the world would have to learn to deal with a new normal. Judith Awachitando for Joy News.
Now, the Ghana Education Service is, however, assuring parents and the general public that it has put measures in place to mitigate the spread of the virus. The Deputy Director General of the GES, Anthony Boateng, spoke earlier in an exclusive interview with Joy News' Mamavi Oswabwaje.
Would you be supplying the mask for all students?
Government will supply mask for every student and every staff of the school.
So they're going to school on a daily basis.
Yes.
Is it 1 day, 1 mask?
No, these are usable and washable masks. What we supply to both students and teachers are usable and washable masks. So that is exactly what we will be doing.
So we're social distancing. Are we providing extra classrooms in that instance? Because some of the classes are really full.
We are not providing, of course, Karen, as we sit here, we cannot provide additional classrooms. If even we have the resources to do that, we will not complete before the schools reopen. What is going to happen, yes, is that we are going to ensure social distancing. We will deploy and employ all the facilities available in our various schools and compounds. We will encourage, because many of these activities, especially the younger ones, are through play, we will encourage teachers and caregivers to use much more open facilities as much as possible to enhance the teaching and learning. In areas where we have extreme cases of congestion, we will authorize district directors in specific cases to adopt specific strategies for dealing with specific schools which have unusually high numbers.
Okay.
Of the thing, we have done some studies, and one of the things we have noted is the issue of school feeding. You go to a compound or you go to a community, and there are two schools. One school is on school feeding, the other is not. You find the school with school feeding overpopulated, while the other one, because many children drift towards those schools with the school feeding. What we are trying to do, and which we have the discussion is already underway. How do we spread the school feeding to the next school, so that we can spread out the children to occupy those empty classes in the next school?
Now, you're live on JoyNews Desk, and Mr. Boateng has said that the service has made arrangements to cover all topics which were not completed before the break in the first 8 weeks of reopening.
Well, because everybody is moving one class forward, under the curriculum that we are running, it's more of building blocks. You need A before you go to B. So those aspects of the curriculum which are not being touched as a result of the closure will have to be covered. And therefore, I'm sure you might have seen, we have just sent out a release to our schools. And we've asked that the first 8 weeks should be used to clear up those subjects, those topics that we have not been able to clear as a result of the closure. So we use the first 8 weeks to do all that mopping up, and then we will then build upon in their new class.
Let's turn our attention to the tertiary institutions now, where a number of students are upbeat about the compliance with COVID-19 protocols amid accommodation challenges as they resume academic work. JoyNews Desk Asante is at the University of Ghana campus and joins us live with the latest. Right, so Kweku, go ahead.
I'm currently at the banking square of the University of Ghana, where a number of students are still paying their school fees. What we have seen so far is a lackluster attitude in terms of how the COVID-19 protocols are being implemented and are being adhered to. I've been to some of the halls, and some of these halls do not have Veronica buckets and all those things there, while students are just coming in and undertaking their manual registration with their masks down their chin, or some of them not wearing them at all. Of course, we've seen some people wearing their masks and adhering to the social, the COVID-19 protocols. What we don't know from management is what exactly they intend to do to people who come in not adhering to the social distancing, especially when the university itself has not put in place much measures to be able to protect these players in terms of Veronica buckets with water, with soap and other things for these students to, as it were, wash their hands before they start their manual registration. There's also been one thing that have come up, Daniel, is the decision by the university to populate the halls with 4 students in every room. You know, one of the things that led to the university to decide to embark on a double track, and we know that the university is embarking or enrolling a double track system where level 100s and level 400s are coming to school for the first 6 weeks to 8 weeks, and then their counterparts in 200, level 200, and level 300 will come back and continue the semester. But one of the reasons the university cited for doing this double track is to limit the spread of COVID-19. But there are those who are saying that if you are trying to do this thing, and at the end of the day, you've still put in the rooms, 4 in a room, 3 in a room, packing these rooms to capacity, with these students going to share the same resources, then you are probably defeating the purpose for which you are doing the double track. But management of the university has been defending this, saying that per their own analysis and their health checks that they've done, they can put 4 students in a room and not endanger these students' life. And so if I just turn around and turn my camera here at the Cal Bank, where a number of students are paying their school fees, you could see that there's a good queue forming right now with the students in queues adhering to some form of social distancing, with some of them in face masks, but not all of them in the face mask. The security men around are trying to check that. But of course, these are private entities who are doing business, expecting that students will come in and pay their fees. And so we are expected to speak to the Dean of Student Affairs of the University of Ghana Professor Bob Kenalufa at 10:30, where he will shed more light on exactly what the university will be doing, as it were, to ensure that the students comply. But it will be a long road ahead for the university in trying to do this, because there are those who have even questioned the university decision to allow students on campus while they'll be enrolling on an online system, because the students are not going to go to class. So there are those who have said that, why not keep the students at home, let them go ahead and do the online from their various homes. But the university defends this position by saying that they are doing this because there are students who complained the previous time they did this, that they did not have access to ICT facilities. And so by allowing students to come to campus, they can have access to the university Wi-Fi and also other ICT facilities on campus. Daniel.
Curious about, Kweku, is that in other institutions, the option has been made available for students who trust their ICT systems themselves to stay at home, do the entire registration process at home, and continue to go for classes whilst they're at home. Does the University of Ghana have any such arrangements for students who perhaps have the ICT capability at home and trust them to the extent that they don't feel the need to come to campus?
Right, Daniel. According to Professor Nana Bamfo Apia, the Pro-Vice Chancellor in charge of academics and student affairs here at the University of Ghana, students who so desire and have the requisite internet facilities and ICT equipment in their various homes can actually stay home and they take the online activities, because about 99% of all academic activities this semester will be taken online. Actually, this morning, the university has commenced orientation for level 100s. And what they are doing is they're doing it virtual, so students can lie on their beds in their rooms on campus, or if they are home, and join via YouTube and watch the orientation and participate. And so Professor Nanaba Apia is saying that if there are students who can be able to stay home and follow instructions online, then they should do so. But there's an exception for law students and for medical students who necessarily must come to campus and actually undertake the entire 13 weeks of course on campus. But for other students, due to this COVID-19 protocols that the university is putting in place, if you think that you can stay at home and undertake your course activities, the university has opened that option up to you, that you can actually stay at home, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Kweku Asante, for those updates. Now, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has partnered with more than 100 private hostels around the university catchment area to help address any accommodation challenges students may face. University Relations Officer Dr. Norris Bekwin says this is part of the school's preparedness to accept first-year students, including designating holding centers to contain COVID-19 cases. Prince Apia has more.
So since Saturday, first-year students of the KNUST campus started reporting to school, and as of now, a little over 20,000 have reported and have the accommodation secured. Authorities have stationed Veronica Bucket at vantage points across campus. Almost every hall on campus and office space have security persons and health professionals checking the temperature and ensuring people adhere to the protocols. So the students, however, are very much excited about them coming back to school after a long stay.
Oh, the use of face masks has been much emphasized on. So yeah, we feel very safe in the school.
I've really been excited because I've always wanted to come back to school. We've been at home since March or something. And every time the president addresses us, I'll be like, when? We are finally back to campus and I'm excited. I'm happy about it. Well, I think it's fine because when I came, everywhere we pass, it'll be like we should wear the nose mask. And in the halls, we have a place where we can wash our hands. There are tissues and liquid soaps available. And then when you enter the halls, there's a temperature. I think it's like a temperature. So I think it's fine.
I don't really know, but I think in terms of maybe the lecture halls, well, I think them introducing the online stuff, it will help. Yeah. It's only in the lecture halls that the social distancing could work, but working on campus and stuff, I doubt it will.
Oh, I'm so much happy to be back to campus. Actually, when we were in the house, it was so boring. Everything is fine. I thank God that we, the students, we are disciplining ourselves and we are adhering to the protocols that we were given.
We've been speaking to the URO of the university, Dr. Norris Bekwin, who has been explaining the kind of measures they've put in place to ensure that the students stay here.
The university has adopted what we call a blended approach to teaching and learning. And so we have moved part of the teaching online. So particularly those ones that have large classes or large numbers, those classes will be held online and students will be encouraged to join. We have augmented the internet connectivity. We've done so to make sure that even when you have a large number of people online, the system will still be able to hold it.
With accommodation being one of the pressing issues across the universities in the country, the KNUST authorities have partnered with 180 hostels.
We envisage the numbers, and so management has signed an agreement with hostel managers dotted around the university. Most of the hostels, they are on the portal, accommodation portal. Until you call them with me, when you campus accommodation, you can go down. Then you see private hostels. Then you can do the same process to reserve a room. And almost 180 private hostels and are signing agreement. And then the managers have been trained on how to ensure the COVID-19 protocols are adhered to.
My name is Prince Apia, reporting from Kumasi.
Let's come back to Accra and move to other issues, because the leader of the NDC in Parliament, Haruna Iddris, has raised concerns about why ministers who are yet to be passed by Parliament are acting in various capacities already. His concern follows the President's instructions to some ministers who served in his first term to continue in acting positions. These former ministers include Ken Oforiatta, who was the Minister of Finance, Alan Kojo Tremanting, who was Minister for Trade and Industry, and the Minister for Local Government, Hajia Alima Mahama, and former Information Minister, Kojo Oponkroma. Now, speaking to me on last night's episode of On the Record, Mr. Iddris described the act as illegal.
I've seen some ministers still hold themselves about as if they are ministers. That is unlawful, that is illegal, that is unconstitutional. As we speak today, there is no minister in Ghana.
And therefore, has asked them to act.
No. There is not. No, he got it wrong. Okay. Go and read the succinct ruling in J. Mensah versus Attorney General, 1997, Supreme Court ruling. Their mandate have lapsed. Until they are nominated, go through vetting, prior approval of Parliament, they cannot hold themselves out as ministers. The same J. Mensah of New Patriotic Party questioned it when Kwame Pepper and Co were asked to follow through. So, there's a Presidential Transition Act. The president must be law-abiding, rule of law. As far as we are concerned, there's nothing like acting minister. The Supreme Court ruling does not recognize an acting minister.
So what will the minority do about it?
And I say the Supreme Court ruling, J. Mensah versus Attorney General, I have a copy I'll read to you, does not recognize any person purporting to hold himself as minister and wanting to exercise the authority and mandate of a minister. Their time have lapsed. That is why it's interesting. What happened in Parliament, we saw some ministers are being pointed that they gave command to soldiers or military or police at that material time at midnight. There was no minister for defense, there was no minister for interior. Whoever gave that authority acted unlawfully and would hold him accountable to that.
So you're going to
no
follow
authority.
The hearing.
I say there will be an inquiry to understand some people's conduct and whether that conduct is acceptable in a democracy, that a sitting member of Parliament can run away and even swallow ballot papers already thumb-printed.
So, Mr. Iddris, what specific action is your side of Parliament going to do, and your party going to do, about the President's directive to the ministers to act?
The President is wrong in law, and his conduct is unconstitutional. He should be the last person to be acting in breach of the law, particularly when the Supreme Court ruling in J. Mensah versus Attorney General 1997 said that there can be no minister, and there's nothing like a holding minister.
Now, to help us understand these issues better is private legal practitioner Martin Pebble, who has a view which differs from Mr. Iddris. He joins us via Zoom. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us. Why do you disagree with Mr. Haruna Iddris? Right, do I have Martin Pebble via Zoom? Right, Mr. Pebble, if you can hear me, what are your views on Mr. Haruna Iddris's concerns expressed there? Right, do I have Martin Pebble via Zoom? It looks like Mr. Pebble is finding it difficult to hear us. We might have to re-establish that connection with him. But we will be getting some more illumination on these issues, particularly having to do with the president's appointment of some former ministers that act as ministers to perform their duties in an acting capacity. I understand that we have Mr. Pebble via phone. Mr. Martin Pebble, thanks for joining us. What are your views on Mr. Haruna Iddris's concerns?
Hey, Daniel, I must say I'm surprised at the petition because my reading of the JHS Ashanti Region case is rather to the contrary. So let me state it clearly this way. In that case, the Supreme Court held that because Parliament will need some time to settle down, form committees, do the vetting and all that, the President has the right to appoint some people to act as ministers for a reasonable time. That is, the court said for a reasonable time, pending the proper vetting and appointment of those ministers. You see, so it means that as soon as the President is sworn in, they can appoint acting ministers. It's known to the Constitution for a reasonable time. So what some of the judges then stated was that as to what is reasonable, Parliament can come out with its own rules on that. So maybe they can put that in a standing order or something. But some of the judges, so to be clear, Justice after wrote the lead opinion, Justice Ampia concurred and wrote his own words. Justice from Benjamin also concurred and wrote some words. Justice Sophia Ekufu, also the former CJ, also concurred. So it's very clear that the President has the power to appoint some persons to act as ministers for a reasonable time. Now, when we say reasonable, in law, sometimes it can be 3 months, other times 6 months, but bottom line, they didn't put the exact time.
Right. Now, Mr. Pebble, the concern here is that if in the 1997 case that J.H. Mensah brought in, Mr. Rawlings, former President Rawlings, asked his former ministers to continue work there. Is it the case then that Mr. J.H. Mensah was trying to prevent them from continuing work as substantive ministers and not as acting ministers?
Well, you know, as in English, we can argue about words. I can't do much about it, except to say that, bottom line, they are both sets of ministers are exercising the powers of the office. So, in practical sense, it's the same thing, whether the person is supposed to continue or he's an acting minister. But it looks like, yeah, the word acting looks more appropriate.
Now, my attention has also been drawn to the Presidential Transition Act 2012, and I'm reading it now. 14.5 says, before the appointment of the office of the incoming minister, a person so appointed by the President shall be in charge of the relevant ministry, but shall not take a decision involving a policy issue except in the Ministry of Justice, where the Solicitor General shall be in charge of the ministry. Does this settle the matter then, Mr. Pebble?
Yes, so even without the Presidential Transition Act, we only have the Supreme Court decision. And let's not forget, the Constitution is the higher law. So once the Constitution allows acting ministers, we don't even need the Presidential Transition Act to say so.
Okay. Martin Pebble, thank you very much for this legal education. He is a private legal practitioner. Now, in a related development, the opposition leader in Parliament also confirmed his side's participation in the upcoming vetting as well as the composition of the appointments committee.
concerns of Ghanaians that have picked up very strongly is, will the NDC take part in appointments committee? Will the NDC take part in vetting of ministers? We do not intend to cavil about that matter. We've been voted into office to seek the public good and to work not as lazy MPs, but hard-working members of parliament. So be assured that the NDC is more likely to participate in the vetting process and appointment of ministers than to boycott it. We are more likely. Okay. We are discussing it with the main party and together with the elected MPs at a caucus level. But I can assure you that we are more likely to participate in the scrutiny of ministers, to examine their intellect, to examine their temperament, and to make many of them now accountable. You know, in 2016, many of them were without record. The vetting was more like a CV vetting. You just look at the CV. Now, many of them will walk to us with a public record and some unacceptable record and some record that they must account to the Ghanaian people why they did this at that particular time and whether what they did was in the national interest or not. So appointments committee, we are reviewing.
You say his presidency is illegitimate.
Yes, we are questioning the legitimacy of his election, and we believe sincerely that he did not win the 2020 elections. We will soon share with you some statistics. What I do know is that a candidate got 49.0608%, not 50 plus 1 as is being churned out. If you do a proper analysis of 275 pink sheets that is in my possession and in the possession of others. I'm just saying, yes. So, and the Constitution provides that you must win 50 plus 1. Okay. And that is what we are questioning in court. Okay. So even though we are not recognizing the legitimacy of his authority and mandate as president, we have a duty to be dutiful to the Ghanaian people in examining persons that he may want to perform other roles in government.
Now, an inferno has swept through the Gumball Line Islam in Kumasi Monday evening. Hundreds of people have been rendered homeless as the wooden shacks in which they live were burnt completely. This is the third fire incident to be recorded in Kumasi in 2 days. Nane Aljima reports it took firefighters close to 2 hours to douse the blaze.
Behind me is the destruction that the inferno caused here at the Gumball Line Islam in the Ashanti region, Kumasi to be precise, and most of the people here say they couldn't salvage anything from the inferno. The cause of the inferno is unknown. Not long ago, the fire service were able to douse the fire, but what I'm learning is that there are still some men from the service on the ground trying to completely douse it. And as you can see, there are some owners of these shacks still in here trying to salvage some of the things that they could find. Some are also scavenging from remains of the aluminium and other metals that they can find on the ground. Here are some of the eyewitnesses.
No one can tell how the fire started. When we all got here, the fire had gotten out of control. So we called in the fire service, but they couldn't get to the fire on time because the inner roads were too small for their vehicles to get to the fire. The service really helped to prevent the fire from spreading. I could take out all my belongings.
Nti omuye ya na omutimi ano e wa hase na ade amaye de nti antimi akwa ekire no ankenye sa anka hanyina anka ebeshi midan
nti den atimi fa odem
mitimi yimi nema nyina nyame ya aduma bibia anka ye nyina bibia anka me no me nkola na me yere bibia anka ye ene me nuefo no bibia anka ye atimi aye bibia
na so den atimi fa
mentime fa bibia but
me wo bebre ya etimi ye nema no uche ye mu 20 5 and 6 na etimi yi omunema
I was at work when they called to tell me about the fire. When I got here, My home was completely burnt. Kwabena Century leads National Disaster Management Organization in the Ashanti region.
Yeah, there are some lactating mothers and those with infants. We have been identifying them, and more so, there's a church out there that we have spoken to the church elder, and he has also obliged to give us the place. So we are going to have some mattresses and blankets, and then give it to the victims so that they will pass the night. Then we see what goes on tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. Now, residents of Danso in the Bolgatanga District of the Ashanti Region are angry over illegal mining activities in the area. The residents want an immediate end to the menace, which they say is impacting negatively on their livelihoods.
Clad in red, the angry residents staged a protest against the destruction of their forest.
Some people have taken the law into their own hands and decided to destroy the forest, which will benefit the country in the future. We are not going to let that happen here. We stood against it some time ago and the issue went to sleep. But they have come to destroy all the forest again.
I'm 53 years now. They have destroyed the forest and the seedlings, and we are going to face hunger sooner. We are pleading with His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo to come and help with the people of Bosome Danso, for we are indeed suffering. I'm a strong NPP member. I've been with them for the past 23 years, and I've been so loyal. Therefore, we want His Excellency to pay attention to our grievances.
Cocoa farmers, especially women, lament the destruction of the only source of water in the area.
I am a 70-year-old woman who is into cocoa farming. I have vowed not to give any cocoa land to them. About 20 different people approached me about it, but I refused, and now they are resorted to using different means. Galamseyers are just causing problems for the government, and we at the villagers are really going through hell.
About 9
years ago, since we have been fighting against illegal mining until a certain gentleman called Willie stood up and the activities went down. Today, we are back again to destroy our only water body. When we travel out of the community, the spirit of the water body protects
They want measures taken to protect the forest reserve. Opani Kwabena is the leader of the group.
What we want to tell the government is that we only feed from these farms, and that is all we have. But the illegal miners have destroyed our farms and forest reserve. We have only one mechanized borehole, and when there is lights out, we fall on the river. We are pleading with the government to come to our aid and address the situation before it becomes worse.
District Chief Executive Yao Danso is yet to respond to calls on measures to help address the concerns of the residents. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now, it's time for business, and Daroko will be telling us how the Bank of Ghana is starting with its program of forward sale of dollars to businesses. He has more details of this in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. Today, the Bank of Ghana starts with this program of forward sale of dollars to businesses and banks for this year. This is part of several measures that the regulator is taking to stabilize the cedi and manage the demand for dollars by enterprises. Already, the cedi has lost 0.25% in value to the dollar this year. Here's George Yafe with more.
The foreign exchange forward auction is starting today, with the Bank of Ghana planning to sell some $50 million. However, giving everything out will depend on how much most businesses that will participate through their banks and dealers will be requesting. Firms will participate through the auction by bidding for a certain amount, which the Bank of Ghana will agree to sell to them, but at a certain date. Move is part of several measures that the Bank of Ghana is taking to deal with a situation where some businesses may not need dollars now, but want to rush for it because of fears that it might not be available when needed. The auction therefore seeks to help manage demand for dollars and ensure that it goes out to businesses that actually needs them. A careful look at the auction calendar shows that the Bank of Ghana has increased the amount of dollars it is willing to sell during this auction for each month during the first quarter of this year. This has gone up by some $10 million. From the calendar, the regulator has increased the amount of dollars it is willing to sell for the first 3 months of this year, where the city normally comes under some pressure as businesses demand more dollars to finance their imports as they try to restock for the rest of the year. However, some businesses have also argued that the central bank doesn't make available enough dollars during this auction, as some of them have argued that they barely get the total amount requested. The central bank is planning to sell some $775 million by the end of this year through this auction, $60 million higher than what it sold for last year. Well, time will tell whether this approach, together with building enough dollar reserves to give some market assurance, may do the trick in terms of firmly stabilizing the Ghana cedi during the first quarter of this year.
Now, the National Labour Commission will tomorrow, January 13, rule over the matter in which 30 workers of Coca-Cola Company Limited have been wrongfully dismissed. The ruling will indicate whether management of the beverage firm erred in sacking the employees without a final conclusion to the matter. The workers protested on Monday over what they described as the unfair dismissal of their colleagues. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union has advised them not to continue today until all matters are resolved. Earlier, General Secretary of the ICU, Sumonkute, told me the Mother Union will await the Labour Commission's ruling before taking the next line of action.
From the beginning of 2020, management said they wanted to lay off 90 workers. But thankfully, the law requires that if you show the numbers, you must give reasons why you want to get it done. And those reasons must be acceptable by both parties. Fortunately, getting to October, they came down to say they are reducing from 90 to 30. This we oblige because redundancy is a right of the employer under the law. Now, we've gone through due process. We are just about concluding where minutes of various meetings held on this particular subject have not been previewed and signed, and then MOU that will put the seal on the entire redundancy have also not been signed, but to a large extent we reached agreement. Then on the 31st of December, management went ahead and issued the termination letters. And strangely, for the first time in the history of termination letter, an employer writes to tell the employee that I know I have not concluded discussion on the subject and I have not also signed any MOU, but your termination is taking immediate effect. So to us as a national union, this is strange. We have never met it, and we want to also have the commission to help us to see that in the ambit of the law, this is rightful or wrongful. So with all the approach from the national union to say, if we can clear those numbers who don't have issues and look at the limited number that we have issues, my men say we didn't bad. So this is where we find ourselves as of today, hoping that tomorrow there will be no agitation at the workplace, because we've advised the workers accordingly that once the matter is before the commission, we should all cease any agitation and ensure that the commission take charge of the matter.
And we'll keep following that story for you. That's it for business. Stay tuned. There's more after this break.
Joining me in studio now is George Addo Jr. with the latest in sports. George?
Yeah, we have to talk about the games to come tonight in the English Premier League. After what we saw in the FA Cup, it is Manchester United versus Liverpool in the 4th round. That's a special tie. I'm looking forward to that, right, aren't you?
Very special tie.
So we look forward to that. That's one of the games that we'll be all paying attention to. Chelsea, fortunately, are playing against Luton Town, but we can talk about the games tonight. Manchester United versus Liverpool. I mean, Manchester United are playing tonight against Burnley. If Manchester United beat Burnley, they go top of the table, and they can begin to make a case for winning the Premier League, after all. I don't know if they're able to get the result at Turf Moor. That's going to be a very difficult place, always a difficult place to go. Manchester United fans will tell you in the last 3 visits to Turf Moor, they found the result. If they find the result tonight, how discomforting would that be as a Liverpool fan?
It will be very discomforting, looking at the fact that we practically gave away 3 draws in the last 3 games that we should have won. It's an uncomfortable reminder of 2 seasons ago, the 2009 season, where
when
you're in top form, and it's just about the number of draws that you're giving away, and you get so close to winning and not winning. I'm not a comfortable Liverpool fan at the moment, but I do still think that it's very early in the season.
Yes.
A lot. I mean, it's earlier than where we would have been now in February or January. The number of games that would have been now in February or January. Because of the unique time that this season began. And so I'm still believing that Klopp can pull some magic. I would touch wood with Man United at the top.
You're not too worried. The problem for you is that
I think Man U will beat Burnley.
Okay, yes, and they will go to the top of the table.
But I'm not too worried that it's Man U at the top.
You don't.
If it was Man City, I'd have a problem.
Man City have games in hand as well. That is where the problem is coming.
That's where they really
Man City are looking and are playing well, and so if they get to the top, it'll be very difficult for anyone to come in. But of course, tonight we'll look forward to that particular game and see what happens. It's not as easy as anybody's making it sound, that you walk to Turf Moor and go a place. Turf Moor is a place where you actually get what you deserve based on how well you play. Very tricky tie tonight, and let's see, especially when the whole world is paying attention on such an outstanding game.
I just think that Man United, and I'll keep insisting that Man United began their mistakes when they chose players over coaches, and you have a new coach who can't seem to get
would you be surprised? I won't be surprised if Burnley beat Manchester United. I won't be.
Nothing is surprising Manchester United.
Any result is clearly out there.
Nothing is surprising when it comes to this current Manchester United, as we keep saying when we meet here.
Just be fair to them.
But I do think that they will win this one.
They're a traditional team. They can win it. A traditional team that have not been at the top for some time. It could still be their year. It's a crazy year, so you just don't know what to expect. But it's more worrying the way your Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah are going with combination up there, because you've made the point about not scoring goals, not getting the points, and it's really because they are not taking advantage of the opportunities being created. In fact, in the last game, there was an issue with the chances being created. So Liverpool have a lot of work to do so far as anyone is concerned.
I think that if there's anyone who can...
The first game against Aston Villa was a bit alarming. We were playing against youngsters, and was 1-1 at the end of the first half. Although you came back to win it, you need to be very cautious. But there's more analysis coming up on what this Manchester United team looks like, whether they can, or they smack off a team that can really... I understand. Those who say, forget about this Manchester United team, they are good in counter-attacking, everything, but they are playing well and seem to get the results. Let's see what happens.
Where it matters the most, they always fail.
Like the semi-final.
Like Liverpool this season, where it matters
most. So it's Man City that you're worried about at the moment?
Yes, Man City is my boogie squad.
All right.
And I'm looking to see what will happen.
Okay. I don't know if you've gotten into the Fabio Gama craze yet. You've seen Fabio Gama, the Kumasi Asante midfielder?
I've seen that.
All over on Twitter.
Yeah,
People are talking about him there.
The light-skinned dude.
Of course, comparing him to Kai Havertz and comparing.
You remember Kwabena?
I remember Kwabena.
Kwabena came to Ghana. He was supposed to be a mistake.
It's only the first game, and
he didn't last one tournament. One national team tournament.
Charlie, you should see the way people were doing, massive video analysis.
Gary.
Riku did some analysis on the guy.
Gary tweeted Ghana Premier League best player.
Yes. It's only the first game. We'll see how it goes. That's it for your sport.
Thank you very much, George Ado Jr. I don't know if you think Man United will win tonight. Let me know what you think. You can tweet at me at I'm Daniel Dazio. Look for Ado Jr., Ado JNR, on Twitter. I'll be back at midday with Joy News Today, the major midday bulletin. But up next is Joy News Interactive. Enjoy that. I'll be back. See you then.